please stand for an invocation and a pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear God, bless us with love, that we may love as you love, that we may show patience, tolerance, kindness, caring, and love to all. Keep our community safe. Amen.
Amen.
Let's see. I approve the agenda. Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Roll- Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move approval of the minutes, regular meeting January 2nd, 2024, special meeting minutes January 9th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I moved fiscal officer's report. Kim?
Do you want to second that so I can discuss?
Second.
Thanks. All right, so this is the report for January. So in our checking account, we have a balance of $6,514,274.92. In our HRA account, we have a balance of $39,974.93. In our Fifth Third investment account, we have a balance of $8,196,362.15. What was that? Is that feedback I'm getting? Under revenue to date, we've received 0.781%, so we've received $93,398.39. Under revenue budgeted, we've received, or our budget for the year is $11,866,303.61. The appropriations for 2024 is $16,172,689.09. Our expenditures to date would be $1,321,442.76. And our payments made in January is $1,014,911.20. So some of our major fund balances on the general fund, we have $2,833,033.97. In our major park levy, we have $193,490.71. In the Rossi Park levy, we have $297,716.07. In the police levy, we have $906,636.29. In the fire levy, we have $525,275.41. In the road levy, we have $187,298.68. Under the safety services levy, we have $3,858,178.12. In the ARP fund, we have $523,950.86. And on our tip fund, we have $2,697,768.77, for a total of all funds, $14,360,652.30. So that's as of February 1st.
Okay, discussion? Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Presentations. Tonight we're here to do a presentation for Jeff Isles, a proclamation for 13 years of service to Symmes Township. So I'm going to read the proclamation as right now. Proclamation recognizing the public career and contributions of retirement public works employee Jeff Isles. Whereas Jeff Isles, retiring service worker in the Public Works Department for Symmes Township, has served the township for 13 years and is well respected by fellow township employees, board members, and volunteers. And whereas his career began in Symmes Township in 2010 as a laborer, and he continued took on new roles and responsibilities. Whereas, during the tenure with the township, he has worked in the Parks Division to mow grass, clean and maintain the parks, create gardens, preserve and cultivate calming areas for residents to enjoy, and in the Road Division, making sure the residents of the township have safe traveling surfaces to get to their everyday destinations, and serving the township as a burial grounds custodian so that many of our residents can come back to visit their loved ones after they have passed on. And whereas, not only has Jeff initiated such initiatives taking measure to address the modern-day challenges of government, he alone with other employees of the township have mentored and trained other employees of the township, striving to proactive in areas of affecting administration and leading the way for welcoming anyone new into the township, as well as caring for the well-being. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Symmes Township Board of Trustees, hereby recognize retiring employee Jeff Isles for his legacy of service to the residents of Symmes Township, expressing their deepest appreciation for his dedication and commitment to the citizens of Symmes Township and the board, and extend to Jeff and his family our best wishes for many years of happiness in the future. Now, therefore, being further resolved that the Symmes Township Board of Trustees do hereby proclaim Friday, February 16th, 2024, he recognized Jeff Isles Day throughout Symmes Township and the surrounding communities. Duly adopted the 13th day of February 2024 in regular session. Myself, Ken, and Phil have signed it. Congratulations, Jeff. Bill has something he wants to present to you, and then we can do it all.
Yep.
We want to do it?
You guys You guys can get the
You want to go? Yeah, go ahead.
Give the story.
Yeah, give us a good story, too.
We give all our retirees a plaque in the township, and we try to match the truck that they drive. Put the truck they drive over here. Just 13 years of dedicated, 13 years of dedication and service to the residents of Symmes Township. So you actually retired on December 29th, 2023. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think we also have something else.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Jeff.
Wait. They also give everybody their own street sign. So when Jeff come to the township, he had previously been with Millicron, and at Millicron he had taken on the nickname of Otter, so we actually put Otter Alley because Camp Dennison is known for their alleys, because Camp Dennison has a lot of alleys. We did Otter Alley for him, so here's another one.
I work with a lot of strange characters. There's a lot of us didn't even know the real name. I mean, we had a schnauzer, we had a squirrel, we had. If you told me today what the real name was, I probably wouldn't remember it. Yeah, that's what we went by. So, yeah, that's funny.
Can you
We
get up?
wish you congratulations. We're very excited for you, very happy. Yes, we gotta get a picture.
Get in there, Bill.
Stay there, Bill, come on.
Come on, Bill.
Yeah. You know the honor around.
All right, ready? All right.
I also want to thank Bill. When I first hired him, I wasn't even really looking at a job. And finally, Bill told me, hey, if you want a job, you need to come up here. I started part-time. What lasted, so 3 days a week. Next thing you know, it was 40 hours a week. Yeah, it was a nice adventure.
It was destined.
Honestly.
You were destined.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, congratulations. I'm sure we'll see that every day now.
I hope you're.
Black.
Oh, yeah.
That's your stuff.
Okay.
See the red light now. Couldn't see it. Did Jeff want to say?
It doesn't take much.
I think it did.
What do you say? Jeff, did you want to say anything else, or Bill wanted to say anything before we move on? Any good stories? No?
No, I better keep stories to myself.
Okay, all right. Well, congratulations. Thank you for being with us for so long. Okay, moving on. No public hearings. I move approval of disbursements warrant number 84045 through 84202, vouchers number 1 through 57 totaling $1,014,911.20.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Reports. Before we get there, you're welcome to go. You do not have to stay. Okay? So you're welcome to stay if you want to, but feel free to leave at any time. Law directors.
Thank you. You know, this is sort of a no report to say that one of the things we've been watching for the board is if there have been any changes in the newly adopted adult use cannabis or the recreational marijuana law. Nothing has changed as of now. Like I think I've mentioned before, there have been a few bills introduced to make some changes to that law, but nothing has made its way all the way through the process yet. So the law today is what was adopted by the voters back at the election. And I guess I know that later on the agenda, there's, I think you're going to potentially schedule a work session to talk more about that topic, so we can get into the details at that time.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't think I have anything new to report.
Okay, because I know we have been approached by a
Yes.
company that would like to come in, so we need to get a hold of that.
Is there, anything else in legal actions you want to talk about?
I know we have a few residents from Camp Dennison.
Oh, well, sure.
Okay.
The latest on the saga of getting that property down there. I think the last time I told you that we were in the process of the court they had to publish it in the newspaper. I've gotten notice that the publication has been finished now, and the non-existent company is now considered to have been served, and we can proceed with the next step, which is given that there is nobody else in the case, we'll likely file a motion for a default judgment, and that should resolve the matter.
Okay. If you don't know what we're referring to, we're trying to make the Cannon area better. We're trying to close off that side street and make it a bigger area and make it more of a park. So
But unfortunately, the township doesn't own the property.
Right.
So
we're trying to acquire it.
We're going through a legal process where there is nobody who has claimed the property. We just have to go through a legal process to get the title changed to the township, and then you'll be able to take care of it like you would any other township property.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Thank you. Police?
Sergeant Jack Loskamp, I'm filling in for Lieutenant Mike Tarr this week. There's nothing to report and nothing new business from the sheriff's standpoint.
Thank you. Fire?
Good evening, Board. I have nothing new to report. I also have Deputy Chief Harold Rager with me here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay.
Director of Public Works, Bill? Okay. Committees? None. I do want to say that we have a bicentennial committee, and I want to thank them because they're doing an excellent job. They're working really hard to organize our bicentennial events, so thank you. Okay, other? Okay, we're at the point where it's hearing from residents. Anybody that would like to address the board, please step up and give your name and address.
Hi. Thank you for that report. I'm Barbara Wilson from Camp Dennison, 7906 Clement Street. So my question is, at this point in time, how much longer do you think it's going to be before?
I mean, it will, months probably at this point before anything is finalized. I mean, we'll have to file the next step with the court, and then I have to see if they're going to require us. Typically, when you file the motion that we would be filing, you have to serve that as well on the other parties.
Oh.
We're going to have to see if the court is going to require us to publish that as well. I don't know that they will, since there was no response on the original publication. So it's really, I can't give you a good answer, but even once we file a motion, any of the other parties, I mean, they have a matter of time to file their response. I mean, the county auditor and recorder, they have responded to the case. They don't have an interest in the case or the property. They just want to make sure if there are any property taxes due, that they get paid. Although when you look at the history of that property, they haven't been sending a tax bill to anybody for a long time, so. But it'll still take some time.
Okay, in light of that, with the bicentennial coming up, I had originally, when I had brought up the Cannon area and redoing the Cannon area, one of the things that was a concern were the signs, the sign that talks about Camp Dennison and its history. The seal is broken on there, and I took some pictures of it, if I can. So I just took these pictures the other day. And it shows quite a bit of damage to that sign. I also took pictures of the Cannon area. And just in light of the bicentennial and having events down there, which, you know.
Barb, do you know who put this sign up originally?
Symmes Township did.
Okay.
So my question is since Symmes Township already owns the sign, and the bicentennial is coming up, I kind of would rather it not, you know, we could use some sprucing up down there in light of the bicentennial, and that Symmes Township owns that sign, if they would be willing to go ahead and start that process to fix it. It's the same layout of sign as that's outside of the building here.
Okay.
Is it fixable?
Yeah, that was the first question.
I think it is.
Okay,
Okay,
I mean, it's gonna take a little bit of work, but it's fixable.
okay.
okay.
And then
Can we start
also,
working on that? I know you're busy.
They're doing-
Everything going on.
Legally, can we?
That was my question.
pardon?
I asked him a legal question.
I mean, if the township owns the sign, and I don't know if there's a way to verify that.
I don't know, I wasn't here, so.
We put that sign down there probably 25 years ago.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
not
But
during
did we
my
buy
tenure.
it?
Yeah, it was actually here.
Okay.
They took one of them down, moved it
Yeah.
down.
Okay.
That's fine.
I think we ought to try and repair it. if we can.
Sure.
Yeah.
The other,
Do we have to reprint the actual sign behind the glass?
It's just the,
It's not faded?
right. So I have to look when I take it apart. but-
Yeah.
Kim, when is our event in Camp Dennison?
It's in June.
June.
the date, yeah, and that's, was the other thing I was gonna ask you is, do we have, I read in the Loveland,
Magazine?
yeah, lifestyle events, that it's gonna be in June, but a date to be determined. I was curious about that, so that we can have ongoing communication with the residents down in Camp Dennison. Love to have a good turnout. Obviously, the township would like to have a great turnout, so keep communications going in that direction.
It hasn't been determined, right? The
Yeah,
date?
it's gonna be June 22nd.
June 22nd.
Because I was waiting for the DAR to tell me what day they wanted to do a combined, because we're trying to do something with them with the flag. And they reserved their Revolutionary War, whatever the thing's called, for the
Reenactment.
22nd.
Reenactment?
Yeah, it's like a display.
Okay.
It's like a traveling display.
Oh.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think what the Bicentennial Committee has planned so far is the reenactments. They're going to do some, you know, like an ice cream truck or something that hasn't quite been determined. They're going to do some kids stuff. They want to do carriage rides from the schoolhouse around. I know we have Derbyshire stables here. Maybe they'll want to open up their doors and we can have maybe some kids' games there too. And so you can move it around. That's what their goal is, to move it around Camp Dennison, so people
Okay.
actually see the whole community.
Okay. So we have some sprucing up to do. Along with that, the benches need to be cleaned up. Some mulching, I'm guessing, has happened in years past.
Yeah,
Is that something we
I
need?
think we're working on the mulching right now throughout the township.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to see if that was something that needed to be okayed ahead of time too.
I'm not
Is
sure
there
you want to
anyone-
order your plans.
Is there anyone here from the Civic League?
Yes,
She is
Okay.
president.
You're president now?
Yes.
I am, Jeff is
Yeah, I knew
Vice
Jeff was
President,
involved.
Kelly's
Okay.
Yeah.
secretary,
Okay,
Ann's
are-
treasurer, we're all here
Are
actually.
you also coordinating what the Civic League is going to do to help with this bicentennial sprucing up and so on?
So long as we know what's going on.
Okay.
Would you like to come to one of the bicentennial meetings?
Would love to come to one of the meetings.
Kim, can we let her know? And now, do we have the next one listed on here?
Yeah, it's the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month.
Okay,
7
Here.
o'clock, right?
Yep.
here at this building? Okay,
Yeah,
all right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Barbara.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Darcy Havel, Camp Dennison, and I was going to say that Barb is the new president and chief executive officer of the Camp Dennison Civic League.
Fantastic.
She didn't tell you that.
Mayor.
Dual hats?
Mayor Dennison.
Dual hats, president and CEO? Okay.
I just wanted to check up just briefly on where we were with the crosswalk issue. It's kind of getting to be a problem with the warm weather and the school letting out and people crossing there at the intersection.
Kim?
Yeah,
126 in Lincoln.
I can take that. I do not have any recent updates from ODOT, but they, as we talked before, they are supportive of the idea. And it's really just a matter of whatever they need from the township to assist with any potential grants that we might be able to get for that crosswalk, which would be helpful. Yeah. So we're still shooting to accomplish that this year.
Okay, they're out surveying, and I'm not sure what they're surveying for, and I didn't know if the process had been started or not.
I'm not sure what the surveying is for.
Uh,
Is it for Lincoln Utilities?
No, it's down the highway. It's-
Yeah.
Oh,
We normally, oh, is that where they put the second sign up and then come back later and take the one down?
One other issue is I wonder if
Waste of money.
if we might be able to get our vacant car back every once in a while. The signs really helped, but at rush hour, people pretty soon figured out that there was no coverage in Camp Dennison. And I was wondering if we get a little coverage, or we used to get our vacant car out there for an afternoon, and that used to help a lot. So, and it's a problem, I guess, right now because it's much warmer and the school buses let out and the kids try to race across the highway.
Where at, sir?
We used to put the car right there where the garage used to be at the corner of the highway and Lincoln Road. So that would help. The only other thing is the Coles have sold Derbyshire, and Sarah Close purchased the property, and I'd like to introduce her, and she'd probably like to say a little bit of what she's going to do with it.
excellent.
I'm also introduced my husband.
Well, we know who the boss is.
Come on
gonna
up to
step
the
up?
podium.
Yes.
So just wanted to say hello. We are,
Yeah, I'm Jamie Hurtubise. This is my wife, Sarah Close. We live at 7613 Glendale Milford Road. So we are directly on the other side of the bike trail from Derbyshire Stables. So we've been very familiar with the property for a long time. Been in communication with the Coles for months and months and months, and recently
And
closed
months,
in December.
and months, and months.
And so we just wanted to introduce ourselves as the trustees. Thank you. We want to be a community resource in any way that we can. We think it's a gem, and we want to kind of continue with its legacy as an equestrian facility in the area where it's accessible to all and they can enjoy all things equestrian and the resources of the area. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice to meet everybody.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I want to say I frequent Derbyshire because I lease Esther
Yes, you
Yes,
do.
you do.
And I just am very excited to have you, and I love Derbyshire. It's just, it is a gem. So thank
I
you
believe
for
so, too.
buying. I
Thank
was
you.
worried for a while that,
Yeah.
yes, but thank you.
Yeah, no, we're excited to
I
get
think a
it.
lot of people in
Get it
Hampton
rolling,
are
so.
worried.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, we're very excited and excited about the bicentennial. Probably maybe a good opportunity to kind of get things.
Fine.
Do you,
Yes.
do you have, not to put you on the spot?
That's okay.
Do you have plans for the house?
Great
Informal
question.
plans, yeah. I'll let
Yeah.
you take that.
Yeah, that's kind of a topic of discussion a lot. At the moment, having it be more of a clubhouse for the people that are at the stables. It's a great observation room, kind of inspired by maybe the Indian Hill Winter Club, how they have the clubhouse upstairs with you can watch the the hockey rink, and same thing inside. There's the same kind of setup inside the house where parents can watch their students in the indoor arena and turning
It
it
was
into
originally built as a viewing room.
yeah.
So the house was
So
a viewing room.
we don't plan on living there.
We like where we live.
Yeah, we like where we live across the
Right on the
lake
other
trail.
side, yeah.
But turning it into more of a clubhouse and a resource for members, if you will, of Derbyshire Stables.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and perhaps a community resource as well, for different events and opportunities. With the bicentennial coming up, that's sort of exciting. We like to be involved in some way.
Great. Okay. Great. Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet everybody.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
Okay. Any other hearings from resident?
I thought somebody came.
Yeah, it's about the fire lines.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Mack, and I live at 10149 Meadowknoll Drive and have for the past 7.5 years. I am here to share my view on the resolution to add a fire lane to Oakton Place neighborhood. The proposal for the fire lane along Meadowknoll Drive and Elmfield Drive is not only logical, it is without a doubt a wholly community-minded proposal and is well overdue. I have personally witnessed several instances of cars parked the wrong direction, including a U-Haul which is frequently jutting into the street, poor traffic flow resulting from cars parked on both sides of the street, fire hydrants blocked by cars, and school buses unable to navigate the narrow streets. This is not only a safety hazard for those of us in the neighborhood, it is, as was supported by data and explained by Symmes Township public safety officials, a concern for emergency vehicles. While I fully respect and welcome my neighbors' comments and concerns regarding this issue, many complaints expressed during the January 2nd meeting failed to address anything other than hypotheticals rooted in personal inconveniences, leaving the safety and traffic flow issues unresolved. The following are a few recent visual examples of the disregard for safety and law as it pertains to parking. These are in order, how I'll describe them. On October 12, 2023, cars parked illegally on the bend of Meadowknoll. The black car in particular has the front of the car facing the curb. October 31st, 2023, there was an enormous traffic jam due to a high volume of cars parked on both sides of Meadowknoll. And then on November 16th, 2023, the U-Haul and car parked side by side at the bend of Meadowknoll Drive, which stayed like that for several hours. I live just before the bend on Meadowknoll Drive. I'm coming from Fields Erdel. Watching cars fly around this corner, commonly with two cars approaching from opposite directions, is terrifying as a mother, a driver, and a community member. While I'm sure a stop sign is out of the question for that bend, a fire lane specifically would at minimum provide additional space for drivers to safely make the turn, space which is often unavailable due to unrestricted parking. While I am primarily concerned with the bend on Meadowknoll Drive and do not live on Elmfield, I observe that Elmfield is consistently difficult to navigate, with cars and SUVs parked on both sides of the road, along with children playing. It can often be difficult to see the children playing and for them to see us. Common sense for this reason alone should dictate a fire lane. Additionally, I was asked to share the following observation on behalf of an Oakton Place resident unable to attend this evening. Hello, my name is Andrea Lair and I reside at 10246 Meadowknoll Drive. I fully support the G 2024-14 resolution to add a fire lane to our neighborhood. Elmfield seems to get especially congested, but Meadow Knoll can be too. One afternoon, I saw a school bus get stuck by my house. There were 2 cars parked on opposite sides of the street near each other, and the bus couldn't get through. It had to honk its horn until one of the car owners came outside to move it. Furthermore, a resident had a party and our street turned into a parking lot from the congestion. A fire lane would have allowed for consistent 2-way traffic. As a resident of Oakton Place for over 13 years, I support this resolution.
That one was from a resident on Enfield, and you're on Meadow.
Yeah, this was actually
Meadow
a
Knoll.
resident on Meadowfield who lives right where Elmfield comes out.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you for taking the time to listen to every community member, for being thoughtful in your discussion. While no one prefers to have extra cars parked on their side of the street or to walk any extra amount to their house, I am confident that we all desire accessibility for our emergency services, school buses, and everyday drivers. No one will be thinking about the extra cars parked on the side of their street when a fire truck is able to access a hydrant. No one will think about the extra 50 feet they had to walk when an ambulance is able to pull in front of their house for an emergency. However, we will think about this conversation when they can't. I implore you to strongly consider approving this logical, community-minded proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a quick question about this? It looks, I know we've seen photos of the U-Haul before, but this looks like it's double parked.
Correct. Yes, it is. That is where the bend is, and so when the road comes like this, that is where that house is. That U-Haul was parked like this with a car behind it.
Wow.
And then you have that bend right there, so people are driving, trying to take that. And those are the types of things that have been occurring.
So
Interesting.
that area like loops over. Okay. So how often is that U-Haul? Yeah, how often is that U-Haul parked there?
At least several times.
And what house is that from?
It is 10135.
So, I mean, we could
I got
handle
this.
that by just a small call to the police department to ticket them.
I've done it several times. I've called. I'm sorry, I was not able to attend last
you're
month's
fine.
meeting. I have 3 small kids and could not get a babysitter on a school night.
Can you give us your name? and
Yes,
address?
mine's
Thank you.
Becky Vicari. I live at 10119 Meadow Knoll Drive. I am actually right up, this is my lovely visual aid for you all. So this is the elbow, and this backs into the high school. The, so my backyard goes right into the practice fields. It is these 2 homes in question that have a multitude of vehicles, and they park right on these. And since there is no stop sign, I don't know if there's any law that says you have to be that, 20 feet from the intersection, because I don't know that that is deemed an intersection.
Has your homeowners addressed it with them?
They don't
I
have
have,
You don't have an HOA?
do you want me to read my lovely letter?
Go
You don't
ahead.
have an HOA,
So I
do you?
can, we don't have an HOA.
Okay.
But I did reach out to the homeowners in question, and I was not met with a community-minded or compromising attitude, shall we say. So again, I said my name is Becky Vicari. I live at 10119 Meadow Knoll. My backyard backs into, I went over all this. I think that I am the main reason that this proposal was drafted due to my phone calls and emails, just due to the excessive number of cars parked in this bend, curve, or elbow of Meadow Knoll. I was initially just hoping for some no parking signs just in this specific area, or at the very least, some slow kids at play signs or a bus stop sign, because the kids get on and off the bus at my house. And it is again based on these 2 neighbors who have moved into the neighborhood in the past year. Again, it's 10135 Meadow Knoll Drive. This is the home right here. They're also the ones you may have heard about who built the fence.
Yes,
And then
I see that fence.
There you go.
Where's Bent Creek?
Bent Creek is here.
Over there.
Right there,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
I'm just
Can
trying
you
to get
pull the map
acclimated.
up?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So that's again. This is the opposite of the bend. 10135, the fence house, has 3 or 4 of their own cars and a U-Haul that they park at the residence several times a month. They also own several businesses that they run outside of their home. I believe she's a real estate agent. And they, according to her, have several team members who work inside her home, dropping in and out, which take up even more parking spots on the street throughout the day. 10127 has 3 or 4 of their own personal vehicles, 1 truck, 1 SUV, 1 sports car, and another SUV when the daughter is home. I don't think she lives there full time. there are typically at least one or two of these cars on the street parked again in that opposite the bend. In the last meeting, because I watched, someone said that they've lived in the neighborhood for 17 years and they've never had parking issues. I've been here almost 9 and I've never had parking issues until these 2 homes moved in the past year. I called the township, I got in touch with Mr. Pittman, who immediately stated he knew the street, was familiar with the issues, and said that he has a lot of issues during snow plowing season. He said he would look into it. During that past week, I work from home, I saw several trucks, an ambulance, fire truck, and township trucks drive by that I assumed were assessing the parking situation. I then chose to take it upon myself to highlight some of the daily parking issues that I see and that I was experiencing, and I sent them to Mr. Pittman, and he asked me to continue to send them. Some of them, so again, this was the first week of October. I have pictures for you as well. October 12th, there were 8 to 10 trucks in that bend area alone. I believe Mr. Pittman came out and the chief of police, or no, the fire chief, and they made them all move because it was inaccessible fully. They both were having work done on their homes. They both are doing a lot of work on their homes continuously. October 17th, 2 cars were parked directly across from one another. My son, my middle son goes to LECC. His bus driver complained to me. He's like, this is very hard to get through, and he was driving extremely slowly trying to get through. November 14th, a truck and a car were parked in front of my home, which again is a bus stop. The bus could not let my son out at his stop. He had to let him out before because he couldn't open the doors. And he then proceeded to drive through very, very slowly. I also do want to say that before I escalated this to a township matter, I did approach said neighbor, and I was not met with any type of workaround or compromise on the issue. She was not open to it.
It's the bend that's an issue. So we're taking it all the way down the street. Or do we need it all the way down the street?
I will be honest, it is crowded, and I think that since Loveland is such a biking community, when you're weaving in and out of all of the cars, you can't see the kids. And we have a lot of kids in our neighborhood.
Well, so they're going to all move to one side of the street. So all the kids that are on that side of the street, they're not going to see. And they're only going to see the kids on the street without the parking.
I would hope that the kids who are riding their bikes would be smart enough to ride on the side with not, I mean, I see what you're saying.
You know, I see what I'm saying.
I do, but
I don't know how long we do need it.
I have a,
I just want to add to that, though, the example that was given by the other resident, that was further down the street where the bus had to sit there and honk for somebody to come out and move their car so it could get through.
There are 12,
Those
13
orange-
bus stops on this.
Just so you guys know, the orange squares, those are all the bus stops. I have the school email me every single one of the bus stops, so that's between the elementary and the middle school. Those are, I counted 12 just on Meadow Knoll alone.
and I was gonna say, it's really intersections, and I know we're not counting the bend as an intersection, which is the issue, but the buses, trucks, fire trucks, ambulances, I have witnessed buses especially, and my Amazon driver, not be able to turn in that area, and there's a big issue with Elmfield, when you turn from Meadow Knoll to Elmfield to go into Plantation Point, to the point where, like, when I got this letter in the mail saying you guys were actually reviewing this, I was very excited. My 10-year-old son was like, why are you so excited about a letter in the mail? So I told him about it. The next day, he came home and said, good job, Mom. We had to wait today on the bus for 5 minutes to turn onto Elmfield. It's gonna be pretty helpful not to have to do that. And I know that you're like, oh, you know, who cares? It's the bus, like 5 minutes late to school. But I mean, like, I just look at it and I'm like, if that's my kid choking and I'm waiting 5 minutes for the ambulance to get there, it's unacceptable. Like, and it's also avoidable.
Chief Gregory?
Yes.
Last month in our minutes and so on, you stated that this street was like 26 foot wide.
I believe it was 21. I think it was 23, 28.
What's our minimum? I thought it was like 28. No?
28 back to back.
Yeah.
28 back to back, so back of curb to back of curb is 28 feet, but the
Okay.
traveling surface itself is 23, which is a standard
Which allows for
subdivision.
what? One side parking, or it doesn't allow for anything? That's. I guess my point that I'm trying to ask is this: are these two particular streets undersized relative to what is an accepted street width in the
No,
township.
it's the same as the subdivision regulations requires.
Okay. All right.
I just want the intersection
So,
areas.
I know, hypothetically, we've got the issue, if it's abused everywhere in the township, then don't we?
Right.
If it's abused.
Well, I can see the elbow,
Yeah.
for sure.
And my other question
And
about that is,
I-
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, because when I originally had called and I forget who I talked to, but they hopped on the U-Haul thing and they said that like, you can't do anything unless they own the U-Haul. And I don't believe they own the U-Haul. I think they rent the exact same one all the time, but I think they also own a staging business, like Verbo or something, I don't know. But so they have, so, and also, you cannot see it from some of these pictures, but if the curb is here, like, it is parked here. Like, it's, the parking job, you know, I mean, you can see all my pictures. I took a lot. I had it, but like, it is always parked incorrectly, it's always there.
Thank you.
And it's also always, if they park it in their driveway, which is rare, it is, you know, hanging out.
Sergeant, is that something we could ticket every time it's parked
Yeah,
illegally?
we could ticket that vehicle every time it's parked illegally.
Gonna hate me.
Well,
So they would
But
have
I
to drive
would-
by on a regular basis, so you would have to put that on your, like, agenda to have somebody drive by.
Yeah, that's not a problem, we can have them go
Yeah.
do extra patrol for that U-Haul, if that U-Haul is indeed parked illegally. We can go ahead and ticket that U-Haul, they don't have to be the owner of the U-Haul to receive a citation.
Oh, really?
It's attached to that rental agreement from the time that ticket is issued, it'll be attached to that rental agreement from that period when they rented that U-Haul truck. So you can issue a citation based on that.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
I think what you might be referring to is a zoning
That's not the one
violation.
that says they're going-
Maybe.
Because we can't, our zoning code doesn't allow commercial trucks to be parked on the street,
Okay.
but those trucks have to be owned by the person, probably is the way Emily's looking at it. I'd venture to guess.
So I mean, like them, it being parked there is not an issue, but if it's parked, you know, 10 feet from the curb, or is it allowed to be hanging, like blocking the sidewalk?
Do you have some, can I see some of the pictures?
Yeah, we'll pass them to
We'd be
you.
more than happy to share them.
Okay.
Some of them are not self-explanatory, like my children walking through my yard, but it's because they were let out. I'm trying to document everything.
Here, Kim. Thanks.
But I think that's part of the point is that, you know, ticketing is fine for that specific issue, but I think the issue is broader than, you know, the U-Haul being there. I think that we have now had several issues where, you know, specifically with the buses getting through and, you know, so I think that this did you show them the photo of the car parked in front of the fire hydrant?
Oh, no, that was, the cars just park in that bend, they park in front of the fire hydrant, it's really, yeah, I mean, it's all the time.
The only violations I see on these two pictures here is the fact that it is parked going the wrong direction, facing the wrong direction.
Hey, Bruce,
The other stuff.
there's more, sorry.
You know, the one truck that's blocked in the driveway, is that truck doing work there, is that house? We don't know that. You know, we would have to knock on the door and find out.
Yeah.
Hey, are they doing work there? If they're
Yeah.
doing work, they can block that driveway.
I think so.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Just do the inside,
But I think the
outside
issue
elbow.
is that like, you have these two houses that have work done, I mean, the one house they just moved in, they've done a complete top to bottom. And there's no guidelines there because it's not technically an intersection to tell them you have to stay 20 feet back. And when I went and expressed concern, I was told very bluntly that that's not, they can park there if they want to, it is legal. It's
So-
public parking.
What if we do like a section and see how that goes? And then if it's not working, we can always expand down the street versus all of a sudden you go from all to nothing or nothing to all, right? If I say it the right way. And then we can just see how it works. And then if we have to take further steps, we'll take further steps. Is that?
I would be really happy with that. It's easier to do that than to get like a stop sign, correct?
Right, you're not gonna be able to get a stop sign there.
That's, I mean, yeah,
Not
so
the-
that's
It's not
fine.
a kind of a through traffic situation.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
Right.
Except for if there's work down at Fields or Lebanon, then it's very much a through
Yeah,
traffic situation.
like when the
Right,
roundabout.
yeah, when the roundabout was there for sure.
That was-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, all right,
Thank you so much for listening.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other resident that would like to speak?
This is where we need to step up.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Lisa Titus, and my husband Tim Titus, and we're at 9632 Cymbola Drive. And we're here because we're feeling harassed. There have been multiple complaints about our property over the last year. We thought things were resolved in August. We had health department and Chief Gregory and everybody and his brother. And Ms. Felter came and said, yes, you've done what we've asked you to do. And then we started getting letters again in, early December, early January, and now again 10 days ago. We don't live in a homeowners association on Cymbola Drive. And we do use our yard. I forwarded my letter that I had sent to the three of you. It was kind of actually fun. You got emails on, I believe, Thursday or Friday. It was kind of fun for me to actually research the three of you because I actually have really personal connections to two of you. Mr. Beck, I'm sorry, I don't have anything personal with you.
Well, if we work hard enough, we'll
I
find
know,
something.
this might be the beginning, right?
That's right.
So that was good for me as a 17-and-a-half-year resident of Symmes Township to kind of get a little more information and background and know who I was going to be standing in front of. Our neighbor moved in next door and did a top-to-bottom redo on the house. And the last two complaints that I know of, maybe the last three, have come from her and her husband perhaps. Interestingly enough, the last one came and she has not been in town since before the first of the year, but yet she has a complaint. One of the complaints back in the summer and again this winter have been that we had fleas and that we had rats. And the health department found no evidence of that. My understanding is she's had her yard treated 5 times and still has fleas. I think I'd be going after the treatment company, but anyway. She has 3 dogs, as was explained in my written response last week. 3 dogs that are out in the neighborhood when she's home, out at the dog parks, etc., etc. We have 1 dog. Our dog is in a preventative flea treatment program all the time. We don't have fleas in our yard. Our dog doesn't have fleas. So that has kind of been put to rest, I think. We've had freezing weather. If there were fleas outside, they wouldn't be there now. But the bottom line is we use our yard. Most of the people around us keep it nail clipper trimmed, and we garden, and we have chickens. And we live off of our property, and since it's not a homeowners association, it doesn't seem to me that there's a nuisance as the resolution that's been labeled for our letter and what the consequences will be, that it would be a nuisance to have wood covered in tarps in our yard. Well, guess what? As you all, I'm sure, are aware, there are houses all over Symmes Township with wood piles covered with tarps. I mean, that's what people do to protect their wood. And so that has been like just a constant burr. And we have moved our wood piles, put them next to our chicken run, covered them with black tarps instead of blue tarps. I mean, we've done everything that we think is reasonable. And yet there's still complaints. And so the last letter we received said that piles and tarps would not be allowed any longer. Well, I don't think it's fair to other Symmes Township people to go around and take pictures and attach their address to it and tell you here are these other piles and tarps. I mean, that's just not reasonable in my understanding.
Kim, do you know anything about this?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're here to say, we want to be reasonable. We've lived here a long time. And all of this has been going on since the lady moved in 2 years ago, who was really fine being neighborly with us when she needed my husband to go move boxes or rocks or borrow tools or receive fresh eggs or baked goods or other things that we normally do to be neighborly. And it's just what you do. You live with people and you want to be agreeable and you want to, live in peace. But we are feeling harassed at this point.
Did you say that you wrote directly to the trustees?
I forwarded a letter with an add-on statement at the beginning of it.
I haven't seen it.
recall it. I don't recall getting
Well, I put each of your email addresses in individually.
Is it through the township? The
Yes.
Township? Okay.
Yes.
That explains it.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, that's not a good way to get to you?
It should be.
Okay.
We have a new
Well,
website.
please advise and I'll do otherwise.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just recently switched over to that system and,
Okay.
and it has teething pains.
Okay, well,
Okay.
yeah, that's, and that's reasonable. I'm not offended that you didn't read my letter. But if I need to send it somewhere else, I will.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll fix it from our end.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I guess the point I'm making today is that we were given until today to resolve our piles and our tarps. And I need to hear why that's reasonable. How are silent piles of wood with a tarp over it a nuisance?
Depends on where they are. I guess.
They're in the back quarter of our backyard.
Okay.
This lady has a 6-foot privacy fence around her backyard.
Okay.
So,
So when a complaint comes in, we have one of our personnel, they go out
Right.
and they verify it.
Right.
And then if it doesn't meet our codes, then they send you a letter and ask you to fix it. It has not come to us yet, so we don't know. Kim,
Yeah.
you wanna?
You want to speak to that now?
Resolution
There's a resolution.
23.
Yeah, we can talk about it when we do the resolution.
Okay.
Oh,
it's
okay.
G8707 is what was
It's on the
cited in the letter.
agenda.
And I
I
did
had
note,
mine text to me.
in my
coming up.
correspondence, I did note that we have consulted with an attorney with Pro Seniors, and they have basically said,
Sent it Friday.
and I don't want this to sound ugly, but this is Pro Seniors, Hamilton County at large, right?
Right.
They said, well, Symmes Township is notorious for writing their resolutions so that they can make it be whatever they need it to be.
Oh,
Which
okay.
that kind of took me aback, but anyway, that's what we were told.
Okay.
So, questions?
I think we'll discuss it when
We're
we
going to
get
wait
there.
until it comes up on the agenda.
Well,
We were told it
we
was
don't
on
have to do
tonight.
that.
Right.
Why don't we just advance it?
You want to advance
Do we
it?
want to table it and look at it, or what do we want to do?
Well, you want to we can move
I
it up
mean, we
to new
can
business.
sit down, we can start over and when you
Do you
get to that if
wanna-
you want.
You want to move it up to new business? I mean,
Yeah.
how far down is it?
It's all the way at the
It's all the
bottom.
way to the
Oh, at the
bottom.
bottom, yeah. What do you want to do?
Okay.
We have photos, haven't we?
We should have.
Then tweet that.
We have photos, Kim.
Should I get through this stuff and then we get to new business and discuss it? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, so if you want to have a seat, let me get through this small section.
Sure,
And once,
sure.
I'll move it up to new business and then we can address it then, okay?
Thank you, thank
All
you.
right.
Appreciate your time.
All right. Any other hearing from residents? Okay, events and meetings. Bicentennial Committee meeting Monday, February 12th and Wednesday, February 28th, 2024 at the Administration Building, and I'm assuming that's at 7 p.m. Finance Committee meeting Thursday, February 15th at the Administration Building, and that's also at 7 p.m., right? Yes. Okay, Zoning Commission meeting Wednesday, February 21st, 2024, the Administration Building. Board of Zoning Appeals, Monday, March 4th, 2024, at the Administration Building. Regular trustee meeting, Tuesday, March 5th, 2024, at the Administration Building.
Slow down.
Did I?
Finance Committee meeting, is that 6 o'clock or 7, Kim?
6.
Six.
That's
Oh,
what I
6
thought it was
o'clock.
6.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I jumped the gun there.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Hmm.
Okay.
No, I'm just checking my sanity here.
Old business, I move approval of a resolution G 2024-14, resolution establishing fire lanes on Meadow Knoll Drive and Elmfield Drive.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Okay, what does that resolution as written state? The entirety
The
of both?
entire
Yeah, the
street.
entire length.
Then,
Do you have any
per our
suggestions?
We spoke about this last month,
And at the end of the day, it's the board's decision on whole street, partial street. But as a fire code official, my experience is we're just gonna push that up the street, down the street. We're gonna continue to revisit this until we do
Okay.
be one side of the street.
Okay, so it's a
But-
fire, so it's a fire department's recommendation from a safety standpoint that it'd be both streets, one side, fire hydrant side.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
Okay, what do you want to do?
So Chief, what about, and that's on the outside, correct? On this-
Well, it's on, I think it's switched, if I remember last month's discussion, it switched from one side in Elmfield to the other side on Meadow Grove.
Correct.
Yeah.
So at the elbow, so to speak, is it on the outside or the inside? Do you recall? I'm just asking if we should be doing both sides at that particular elbow.
It's on the inside, because
Yeah, it's on the inside.
Yeah.
But once you eliminate parking on that side, that should alleviate that issue in that elbow though.
But then they're just going to move it to across the street and set in front of someone else's house.
That's a given anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
If there's only so much space to park, you're going to use it until it isn't there.
Right.
So you're just pushing the problem. Yeah.
Again, it's the board's decision on if you do partial,
Well,
complete. Here's our recommendation to do complete because, as I stated before, the folks are going to park down the street, up the street, those folks are going to complain, we'll be back in here again. But again, it's your decision. Our recommendation was to do the hydrant side on those streets.
do piecemeal or all at once. That's the choice.
Yeah. Knowing that we might be the whole thing eventually.
Yeah, but we'd probably get a lot more comment if we did it piecemeal. Don't you think? Now it's going to start affecting other people when we get more people in here to talk about it.
Yeah.
We might even have to have a public hearing on the subject down the road if we do it piecemeal. I'm willing to go either way. I think we need to make a step, some kind of step, either the partial or the whole thing. It's not, we're not going to do it. And as far as I'm concerned, safety trumps everything.
Right.
So,
Rip that Band-Aid off.
Well, we have a history of asking for the fire department's recommendation and then implementing the fire
Yes.
department's recommendation. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head when we have gone against it. I recognize that it will be, I mean, it's change. Nobody likes change. It's going to be a challenge for some at first, but the intent is that folks will adapt,
Right,
maybe park in their driveway.
right.
That's a crazy idea, I know, but
So are you ready for roll call?
yeah,
Okay, roll call.
this is as is.
Right?
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Okay.
Both sides, or both
All right.
streets,
So
all the way.
if you continue to have problems with the U-Haul, will you contact us? Because I feel like now we've pushed it on, it's not going to be in front of their house, it's going to be in front of everybody else's
Yeah.
house.
And I'd like to see it tagged every time it violates the law.
So, yeah, maybe they'll move that into their driveway.
Yeah.
Okay? Thank you. You're
If
welcome.
they have other businesses, maybe they can park it there instead of at their home residence.
Okay.
No? Did you want your pictures back?
All right, new business. I am going to amend, where is it? Do we know?
It's resolution 23.
Second from the last.
Second from
Yeah,
the
it's almost
last.
Yep.
I'm gonna move approval of resolution 2023-23, resolution providing for the declaration of nuisance for the property located at 9632 Cimbola parcel number 620-0070-0148, and authorizing all necessary steps for the abatement of the nuisance. I'm moving that to the top. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Still got it.
A roll call.
Well, we're going to discuss first.
Don't we have to move it up and then?
Oh, so we're moving it first.
We're moving it
Yeah,
up.
that we just
Understood.
moved it.
Okay, roll call. Yep.
Yeah. Ms. Lees? Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
So now do I have to read it again?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
I move approval of Resolution G 2023-23, resolution providing the declaration of nuisance for the property located at 9632 Cimbola, parcel 620-0070-0148, and authorizing all necessary steps for the abatement of the nuisance.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Good.
Can I just say that the nuisance that was cited in our letter is not numbered the same as what you just read?
What is this?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 24. That's the neighbor's pictures that she sent.
That one's really not, I don't think relevant.
Yeah.
I don't understand that one.
So we tell
Do you need explanation?
Okay.
And it may have been pictures that I sent as well. I can't see that.
Well, let Phil see it, and then we'll hand them over to you. And so were these taken from the neighbor's yard? And this is the
Yes.
backyard?
Yes.
And Luann took them
Concrete
from the
blocks and
neighbor's
plexiglass.
backyard?
No,
Concrete
we have never been able to verify that those pictures are correct. I was hoping that they brought pictures
If I-
tonight to
well,
prove
I sent pictures.
what their backyard looks like.
Yeah, I sent pictures from my phone to Luann, but I'm not sure that she ever got them. She said that she got some additional pictures. She didn't know where they came from. So I'm thinking that they may be the ones that I sent.
So here, you want to approach?
No, these, from what I understand, this is from the neighbors.
This is from the neighbors. Is
The
this
6-foot driveway.
what we're looking at? Do you have something different?
I don't think so. No. Well, it does.
Yeah, because those are still blue charts.
You can table it until there's.
Yeah, but can we ask that she bring in a set of pictures from her own backyard to verify?
Is that possible to do? Can you
Because
take
we
pictures?
can't get there, so.
I took pictures from the corner of the yard that she has access to.
Okay.
And I sent those, but I will take some more.
Yeah, you can always just bring it in because if Luann didn't receive it, you know, she's here, she can
Okay.
snap it on her phone off of your phone.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Because,
Kim, from the census timing, she says she had until tonight to do something, is that right?
yep,
Okay, so what
We can
what
table it.
latitude do we have in taking any action if we're waiting for pictures from her?
Well, right now, you have a resolution before you,
Right.
but there's no requirement that you act on that
So we could
resolution
table it.
tonight. You could,
Hypothetically, we could table it.
yeah, the board could table the resolution and ask for additional photographs and any other additional information that could be presented to the board so that you could make a decision.
okay. So I move to table Resolution G 2023-23, resolution providing for the declaration of nuisance for the property located at 9632 Cimbola, parcel 620-0070-0148, and authorizing all necessary steps for the abatement of the nuisance.
Okay, today is the 13th. so-
I'll second that.
Okay,
And
we will
on-
meet again on the 5th.
It's, yeah.
March 5th?
The next meeting is March 5th, so if the resolution is tabled tonight, it would be, it would reappear on the agenda at the meeting on March 5th.
So we would need all that information by March 5th, else we'd have to move forward with it, okay?
And
But
if-
then,
Go ahead, Ken.
Sorry. One question you'll have to answer in your minds is the question that she raised earlier, is tarps over wood, wood piles acceptable?
What's our code say?
Well, typically we send nuisance letters to people with tarps, so.
So take the tarp off?
There's a lot out
Seriously?
there.
Yeah.
I mean, take the tarp off if the complaint is on tarps.
Well, it's tarps and piles, is how it's.
Yeah, and typically we have people clean up their piles and organize them.
Right,
So,
and we understand that, so.
yeah.
And I think you understand that, right?
Okay.
The thing is, we use what we have back there. We're building garden, raised beds, there's things to do with it. And if we have to dispose of it, then we've already had a lot of experience with this lady.
And a shed, is that not, are you not?
We have a shed. One of Luann's suggestions was, can't you just get another shed? Really? I mean,
Yeah, okay.
Well,
So.
since I'm just going to say, full disclosure,
Go ahead.
I've had a pile of wood with a tarp over it in my backyard, hidden behind my storage barn for 24 years.
amen, so does half the township.
But it is a brown tarp, and it's sort of disguised. It's not like fluorescent orange.
I would change ours
Keep
to
it tight,
black.
put wood on top to keep it from blowing around, all that stuff. But
But then our nuisance thing is also complaint driven too, so we don't drive around looking for it, but if
Yeah.
our neighbor is complaining, then unfortunately, we have to
well,
do something.
that's what I was
about it.
curious
Right.
about. If the neighbor has a 6-foot privacy fence, how are those photos taken?
From one corner up
It's-
out front.
The fence is to the back corner of the house, but there are windows along the side. So if,
But her windows look at our side of our house. It doesn't look at our backyard.
no.
So she would have to make a concerted effort to walk over to the fence and look.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the back, the piles are in the back quarter of the yard.
Yeah.
So there's 6 foot on this side, the neighbor behind us has 6 foot behind. So you can't even see them from the street. It's not even,
Right.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, some people, you can never make them happy, no matter what you do. But when I look at the photos, I can't help but wonder if the concrete blocks were maybe stacked
those have
or
been moved, and
flower
those are
pots were
being
turned
used,
upside
yeah.
down and
Right.
pushed to the side so they don't collect water, and just
Right.
like
All that
basic
kind of stuff has
common
been
sense.
done, so.
Yeah,
So can
Yeah.
we roll call the tabling?
I thought we did already.
We got to take a roll call.
Oh, we're discussing.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, this is under discussion, so I'm just saying stuff we need to see by next month.
Yeah.
Can I have ask a question? So if you table it until next month, and then you say no, or whatever your decision is, then what kind of timeline do we have from there?
If we approve it at the next meeting, which is March 5th, then you have 7 days to actually, do the things that, resolve the issue, yes.
Remediate, whatever that means.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Okay, discussion of concerning short-term rentals. Okay, so this was brought to my attention the other day at yoga. So we had a case that just came up, and I think the way that we did our resolution last time made it appropriate that, at least the way I understood it, and maybe I misunderstood the way the resolution read, is that our board can deny it or they can put conditions on it. So the way that the board was explaining to me the zoning was that they have to approve every short-term rental and just put conditions on it. But the reason why I brought this up tonight is because I think there's some places that an Airbnb does not belong. And so I would like a resolution that gives the board more leeway. That, okay, in maybe some instances, it's okay to have an Airbnb, but in certain, I just think saying yes to everyone might not be appropriate.
We got a
Does that
couple
make
issues
sense?
going, don't we?
Yeah, we just had one.
One is that people
that
have done
subdivision
this
is hot.
with no cognizance of any rules and regulations the township might have.
Yep.
In which case we ended up in court. And the other ones are going through BZA.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, which is
And-
asking for a
Conditional
a
use.
conditional use.
Right.
Yes.
Now, if that becomes a nuisance property under that second scenario, is that something that the conditional use can be withdrawn?
Yes.
Well,
So-
if they've, when a conditional use permit is issued, it is, part of what is issued is a list of conditions that they have to meet.
Yeah.
If they fail to meet the conditions,
Okay.
then you can revoke the conditional use permit.
Right.
you.
And
All right.
one of the
Now-
conditions
now I
is that
understand the
no
difference.
less than 30 days rental.
Well, that's not what our board is approving.
Well, that's
Our
one of the
board-
conditions that
Well,
we
I
approved
think
in the
we
resolution.
need to instruct, I know we have an issue with it.
Yeah, I don't think that's the way it's written.
No, it's not
That's the
written.
way, that's the way the original resolution, that was one of the
If the rental
20
is less
conditions.
than, if it's
Yeah.
rented for less than 30 days, then it's a short-term rental and it's allowed under these conditions. I think that's the way the resolution is written.
Mm-mm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what we
we just had a
discussed.
case and was it on Carousel, Kim?
Cactus.
Cactus. And they granted it, and the subdivision is very upset. And I don't agree with necessarily what they do, because Brian, according to Brian, Brian said that the way the resolution is written, they have to approve every short-term rental, but just put terms on it. And I don't think necessarily every time we are faced with an Airbnb, we should have to approve it and just put conditions on it. I
Do
think
you-
at one, we should be able to say no.
It sounds to me like we got some work to do. Jeff.
Well,
You can add
Kim,
all
do you
this.
have that resolution on your computer?
It's on the website. See if I can find it.
Just looking for the conditions specifically.
All right, so it's gonna be.
Because we
That's what I was just looking for.
wrote about 20
It's all the way in
conditions.
the back. It's, oh.
On your new website.
So it's government, and then you go to Board of Trustees,
Is it on the 2022 zoning resolution?
trustees, oh yeah, it would be in there too. Yep,
The 2022.
so we have resolutions going back to 2019.
This is the one that they're taking us to court over.
Yeah.
So I need to think, we need to straighten this out. If it's written the way Phil thinks it's written, then it should be okay, but we need to instruct our zoning. But if it's written the way that Brian explained it, then we need to fix it. And we need to fix it quickly.
Agreed.
And we need not to hear any more Airbnbs until we get it fixed. So can we just look into that? I mean, I don't know, by the time we find it and
Okay,
read
now I
it
see why
and
it
go
was up-
through this.
Now I see why it was on the agenda as discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so can we look into this, and if we need to set a special meeting, or if we need to do something to fix it, we need to fix it, okay?
Okay.
All right. So can I move on, or do we need to talk about it anymore?
Well, I'd like to, when they find their specific resolution conditions.
Okay, so here it is, short-term rentals, in an A, and through C, it's a conditional use, a D, it's a conditional use, and H, it's a conditional use. And then I need to go to the, so it's gonna require some of these things that I'm touching on, but I think I gotta go
We
back.
had like 6 or 8 different conditions, didn't I?
Yeah,
Yes.
I gotta go back to, was that section 50? It was
That's what
section
I'm-
51, I think. Too far.
And then I want to fix this, because we have not
Oh, okay. Maybe between the two of us. On the chart, it identifies which conditions apply to short-term rentals.
Yes.
Right?
So
And I
do-
have the list right here, so if you can tell me the letters in that chart.
First one is F.
F is parking shall not be permitted in the area defined as the front yard setback of the existing zone district.
Okay, so we've got F, H, the next one's
H is the vehicular use area shall be located and designed so as to minimize impact on the neighborhood.
L,
L, measures shall be taken to minimize the impact of potential nuisances such as noise, odor, vibration, and dust on adjacent properties.
M,
No exterior alterations of an existing structure shall be made that depart from the residential character of the building. All new structures shall be compatible in residential design with the surrounding neighborhood. However, any improvement required by code or necessitated by licensing requirements shall not be deemed incompatible.
P1.
P1, P relates to signage, and 1 is no sign shall be erected for purposes of identification, except as permitted street address sign.
S.
What was that?
S.
S.
And then Sam.
All exterior lighting shall be directed away from adjacent residential properties and not exceed 0.5 foot candles at the property line when abutting residential use or residential district.
T.
T, documentation indicating the need for the facility, the specific clientele it will serve, and the location and type of similar facilities operated by the applicant shall be submitted as part of the application.
V.
V, like Victor.
Yep.
The applicant shall provide a plan indicating the manner in which the facility will maintain contact with neighborhood residents, along with a structured procedure whereby their grievances may be filed and resolved.
W.
A refuse collection plan shall be submitted as part of the application.
X.
Meals shall be served only to guests or residents of the facility and not to the general public.
Y.
The intensity of the particular use shall be evaluated with regard to the location, size, and configuration of the tract.
Z.
Z. An emergency response plan shall be submitted detailing safety measures and response procedures.
2 I's.
All properties used for short-term rentals are required to have rental property insurance.
And then 2 J's.
All properties used for short-term rentals shall have proper screening as required by the Board of Zoning Appeals if appropriate.
So we need to pull up the actual resolution, because I know it was in that.
And what is it that you,
he wants it to make.
The short-term rental, short-term.
30 days.
oh yeah, and that's in the definition section. That's all, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's already in the definitions. The
so-
short-term
So if
rental.
something was approved, it needs to be rejected immediately. It was approved erroneously.
Well, I don't know I don't know anything about the specific case that was approved.
If it was something less than 30 days,
It was.
yeah, that's illegal.
It was less than 30 days?
That's what I'm hearing.
For rental less than 30 days.
Right, that's
Yeah, I
what,
think we need to clear that with our zoning.
Yeah.
Because the way Brian is interpreting that is that it has to be approved and they just put conditions on it. If it
No,
has to be
we
approved.
just spelled out the conditions.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's not what happened at the meeting.
Yeah. If he has any questions about our resolutions,
yeah,
he needs
I
to
can
talk
tell
to
you,
one of us.
yeah, and we'll definitely look into
Yeah,
that. The definition of short-term rental is a dwelling unit or portion thereof which is offered or provided to a guest by a short-term rental owner or operator for a fee for a term of less than 30 days.
Is it positive, less than 30 days, or is it a negative?
So it's considered a short-term rental if you rent it anything less than 30 days. So
Okay.
1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day,
Okay.
5
So in
days.
some
what the-
instances, it might be appropriate, but in some incidents, it's not. And definitely what they did the other day,
We
it
will
was
take a look.
not.
I think in general, the way conditional, I haven't talked to Brian about this, so I don't,
We need to talk to Brian.
but I can tell you generally, with conditional uses, you establish what the conditions are
Yeah.
in the code, which you've done, and then when someone comes in to apply for a conditional use permit, if they can satisfy all of the conditions, they are granted a conditional use permit.
For short-term rental, for less than 30 days.
Well, originally, when we went through this a
Yeah,
lot.
we worked,
Yeah.
this was
A couple years
long-
ago.
Yeah.
And originally, some of us wanted to just restrict it completely. And then we found out that, well, we would be challenged and we would likely lose. So then we said, okay. So that's where we started evolving to the conditional use, but we had to set a time, and the time was supposed to be no less than 30 days. That was what we had
Once
discussed.
again, Jeff, does it say less than 30 days?
It says-
Or not less than 30 days?
A short-term rental is a dwelling unit or portion thereof which is offered or provided to a guest by a short-term rental owner or operator for a fee for a term less than 30 days.
I can see where Brian interprets it that way.
Well, that needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should
I
be.
don't think the applicant.
It should be greater.
For BZA, if it said no less than 30,
Yeah, it should be
they
greater.
would have
than
never
30.
gone to BZA for that. They went to
30?
BZA because it says they're defining short-term rental as less than 30 days.
If you were going to rent, if someone was going to rent their property for more than 30 days,
Yeah.
it's not a short-term rental.
Right.
It's-
You
It
don't
depends
need a
how we
conditional
define it.
use.
Right.
Right.
You don't need it, you wouldn't need anything. It's a rental property and you can just
Right.
do it.
Okay,
Right.
so.
But I don't know any of the specifics of this
I think we
application.
just need to have a discussion with Brian and figure this out.
Okay.
That's why I put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure that it's being interpreted the way that we intended it to be interpreted.
Right, the
Well,
definition
well,
of short is 30 days or
Would
longer.
we, I guess my question is, would the board agree that the intention was, if someone wants to rent their property for, I'm going to make this up, 3 days?
3 days.
Yes.
Yeah?
That's a short-term rental.
Yes.
And as such, you would need a conditional use permit to do that.
Yes. Yes.
I can see where Brian would interpret it the way he is.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the
That's
code
how it's
says.
written.
Yeah.
But Brian is saying to the board, BZA, that it has to be granted.
Yes,
If-
anything in a conditional use is an allowed use with conditions, that's how it is.
Right,
Yeah.
so he is saying that if someone comes in front of the board, this is what I understand. If someone comes in front of the board for a conditional use, they have to grant it.
Yes, with conditions. They
With
have-
all of the
with all the
conditions that we
met.
just read.
Yes.
Well, they put a few conditions, like they put,
Yeah, they added
Trees,
additional
yeah.
ones on
Mm-hmm.
top of the ones that we'd already, which
But-
is acceptable.
so I don't know, I don't necessarily think if someone comes in front of the board and it's for a Airbnb, some places it's just not appropriate. Some places it is appropriate. So I think we should have the ability to deny it.
Well,
Well,
Well, then
they,
it can't be a conditional use.
you're gonna have to specify it in your
and
zoning.
unless,
It's only allowed in certain
unless you can
areas, and we didn't
articulate,
do that.
that a particular application cannot meet some of the conditions that are spelled out in the code. They can deny a conditional use permit if they can't meet the conditions that are in the code.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get we want to be uniform to everyone, but the definition of short was 30 days or longer. That was the whole point of the whole exercise.
Less than 30 days.
No, less
No.
than 30 days.
The definition of short is what we define it as. And the Symmes Township definition of short is 30 days or greater. You can rent it for 6 months, you can rent it for 9 months, 1 year, 1 month, whatever, but not 1 day, not a weekend. That's what we were trying to get away from.
No.
That's what was
No.
causing,
And that's
what was
we were-
causing the difficulties.
That's what we were told would be challenged, and we didn't.
No, you're right, that there was a lot of discussion about the definition. At one point, I think there was discussion that maybe a short-term rental should be anything that's less than 6 months. You should have to, if you're gonna rent your house, you have to rent it for at least 6 months. And through lots of discussion, we decided not to go that way and settled on 30 days. I think in part you settled on 30 days because that was what the state of Ohio was considering when it was going to regulate short-term rentals. And so the point was, if it's more than 30 days, it's not a short-term rental. It's just a regular old rental property. And you don't need any special permits to do that. People that own residential property are allowed to rent it.
So,
If it was more than 30 days, there was no need to regulate it because we were treating that like just a regular piece of rental
okay.
property.
But if it's 30 days exactly, then is it short-term rental?
No, because the definition says less than 30 days. So if it's 29 days, that's a short-term rental. And because it's a short-term rental, you have to go get a conditional use permit to do that.
All right.
And so,
So need to take a look at it, Jeff.
yeah, I think we need to figure that out.
I'm kind
I mean, we're not going to solve
I'm
anything
dizzy
tonight.
right now.
I'm hearing that we can't call anything, what am I trying to say? I was pushing for nothing less than 30 days. Because I think that would have gone a long way into solving a lot of the issues we've had in several neighborhoods. But if we can't do that, then our only way of ensuring we don't continue with problem properties is just completely bird dogging all those conditions and making sure we get these plans and all, and I'm not sure we have. I don't know. I mean, it would have to be every single rental, I would think. That's a different contract. If someone rents it for a weekend and then they rent it for the next weekend, then those are
You have
like
to
two
start
totally
over with
separate
another
conditions.
plan. Everyone has to submit a plan, right?
No, that's not at all what the code contemplates.
So once you met it, like the owners met it,
Yeah.
with the generalized trash collection
Yeah,
plan and all that, then they've met it.
I can't imagine that the intent was every time you rent your property for a weekend as an Airbnb, that you have to get a new conditional use permit every time. Short-term rentals are permitted as a conditionally permitted use. Once they come in and get their conditional use permit, they are allowed to use that property as a short-term rental.
Unless they violate.
Absolutely, unless they violate any of the conditions of the approval.
Okay.
So we know we need to work on this.
So absolutely, we can do that. And what would ultimately have to happen is, if we, and this is what zoning resolutions are for, right? You adopt zoning resolutions, you see how it operates, how it works in the real world. They're living documents, and if it turns out that it's not addressing the concern that it was implemented for, that's why there's an amendment process. We can go through the process to make amendments to the code.
Okay, so I
Is
just
there
wanted to,
anything grandfathered in, or you can change it? Once it's approved, as long as they don't violate the rules, they're golden, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, not to beat this to death, but your definition of short, not you, Jeff Forbes,
The Symmes Township zoning resolution definition.
Of short.
Yeah.
So, we could change that.
Sure.
yeah, we need to work on that.
You could change that. I don't know which direction you're going.
What I'm trying to get away from are the one-night stands, where they have the parties.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, that could be, if it's not already one of the conditions, and this is not a question of a definition of what constitutes a short-term rental, but if a short-term rental is a conditional use in the district, If it doesn't already fit one of the conditions, a condition could be, I mean, you could have something that prohibits, I mean, I think they already have something that, in one of the conditions, that it disturbs the neighboring property. And if it does, that may be grounds to revoke their conditional use permit. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the, whether it's 1 night or 2 nights or 10 nights. If you have a short-term rental conditional use permit and you violate any of the terms of it, there's an enforcement process that we go through, and it could result in revoking your conditional use permit.
So if a renter has a big party and aggravates neighbors and so on and so forth, we can use that as leverage to pull the conditional use?
If it violates any of the existing conditions.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, all right,
Good discussion,
okay.
I think.
So moving on, discussion concerning apartments in office districts. So this is another one that was brought to my attention. I'm noticing that apartments are starting to pop up more in Symmes Township, and I think we need to make sure we have a balance. So I don't know if we can put like, maybe Symmes Township can be made of 10% or 20% or whatever percent, but I just don't want to see us being inundated by apartment buildings because of the how it would affect schools, how it would affect fire and safety services. So I just wanted to start the discussion that maybe we should have a balance of what percentage compared to our population can be apartments. Does that make sense? Can you explain that a little better?
Yeah, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Phil and I talked about this tonight, doing a comprehensive plan update.
Okay.
And I think that would be a good thing to do, especially with that Senate bill I was telling you guys about, where they want to eliminate township zoning. So I think we need to update our comprehensive plan, and during that process, we can have those discussions about, you know, what is our percentage and what should that look like? Should we be 75% residential with only 10% apartments?
This
And what does that
apartment
look
buildings,
like?
I'm talking.
Yeah, apartment buildings.
Not like if you rent your house, but I'm talking like, yeah.
Right.
When you're talking comprehensive plan, are you talking a new 10-year or 15-year plan kind
Right.
of thing?
Yes.
That's top-down driven, that's 50,000 feet altitude kind of viewpoint. And then what you need to flush it out is down to subcategories, and each of those you have the master plan for
Right.
each of the ingredients.
But each of those can be goals
Yes,
that you work towards, and in order to meet
Well-
those goals, you have to, A, change your zoning code
Right.
to say X.
okay. So the 50,000 foot plan is a goal-oriented plan, where we want to get to.
Right.
And then the details that flush those things out are something that gets worked on over a period of time.
Right, but I think it would hold more water if we went out to the community and said, community, what do you think? You know, do you
Oh, yeah.
want, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we can't just
Confuse-
arbitrarily and capriciously make a decision
Right.
that affects the business or affects the real estate world. I think if we approached it from a community angle and
Right.
said, hey, our community is telling us that this is what they want,
I agree.
Right.
I think it's
I
gonna
agree.
hold more water,
Right.
or hold more
Yeah.
teeth.
I think that's very
Yeah.
good, very good suggestion.
It's almost like, what's the term?
Well, it's land use. It's a
Land
land
use
use
is one
survey.
piece.
Right.
That's one piece. I mean, a communication plan, a park plan, business
Right.
development plan, all
Right.
those things subcategorize out of that. But here's the overview, here's where we are, here's where we want to go in the next 15 years, and then what's it take to get there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So, like on the Banks project downtown, so we started from scratch. And we said, when this whole project gets built out, we want X% residential, X% retail, X% hotel. You know, we had the luxury of looking at that 50,000 foot level and trying to plan out what the right mix was. And over the course of the past almost 15 years, that has even evolved
Right.
since we
Yes.
started.
Yeah.
Sure.
But here we're in, I mean, that is our land use plan. And if, like, for example, if we're looking at vacant office buildings at Governor's Hill that are just sitting there empty and not doing any good for the environment, especially the local restaurants and whatnot, and someone comes up with an idea to convert it to residential, and they did work in the first case, I'm not speaking of the second case because I don't know the details on that, but in the first case, they did work with Sycamore School Board and accommodated what their concerns were, I think.
So-
That was successful.
Like what you're talking about, like that area, I think it could be so much more than just apartments, is what I'm thinking. It could be like a development, not like the banks, but maybe like the banks. Do you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't have to be apartment buildings.
No.
You're talking
There
about
might
tear
be-
down.
There might be,
Yeah, I'm
no, there might
talking
be
like-
resurrection of office space needed
Yeah,
and so
you
on
don't,
down the road.
yeah,
We
I just
don't
don't
know.
want, what I'm saying is,
Right.
I don't, all of a sudden.
We don't know, that's the point.
Everything developed into apartment buildings when it could be so much more.
But that might mean it sits empty for the next 20 years. Are we
Maybe
willing to
not.
do that?
Maybe it just needs a developer that has a imagination. But if you just rush to like develop everything into apartments,
Well, I mean, how long was that first building empty for? How many years?
well, you were dealing with
10.
COVID. I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
different
it's
drivers on
Different
each of these.
ideas.
I know, but
Yeah.
office use is not like accelerating.
No, but there's a great need for apartments now because people can't afford to buy a house.
There certainly is.
Yes.
And I think the fact that it's being converted is very out-of-the-box thinking. I mean, I really do. I think it's a
But
win-win.
to Jody's point, you develop 2 or 3 buildings at the same time and build it into a resort kind of thing.
Yeah, like,
Instead of just
instead of slap-
apartments after apartments after
Their
apartments.
apartments.
yeah. You gotta
I'm
work
just
with the
trying to
different
slow that
developers.
That's
process
the thing.
down, is all I'm trying to do. Because I would like it, I'm okay with apartments, but I think it could be really a cool property with other stuff besides
Yeah.
apartments.
And you also, to your point, you have to watch out for overloading the schools to where you need more school buildings built and so on
Yeah.
and so forth.
Right, I get that.
So that's
So-
all I'm trying to do.
There has to be some judgment, some overview as to where we are and where we're going.
Okay?
But yes, we definitely need the public input in all of these things.
Okay. So we'll talk about
Public
comprehensive plan.
After this year.
Can we even do it this year because of everything that's going on? Or
Where
do
are
want
we?
To start it next year.
Well, we could start planning for it and working toward it.
That's a good, okay.
It's probably gonna take, honestly, it would take us into next year to finish it anyway, so.
Okay.
And then we could divide the cost up.
Okay. All right, so we'll work that way. Okay, anything else? Okay, I move to schedule a public hearing for a proposed text amendment to sections 62.1, 66.1, 70.1, 74.1, 78.1, 82.1, and 92.1. Use regulations sections 64.4, 68.4, 72.4, 76.4, 80.4, 84.4, 94.4-1, and 94.4-2. Intensity of use for residential districts of Symmes Township zoning resolution.
Second.
Discussion? Do we have a date in mind, Kim?
Yes, so this will be on our March 5th, sorry, I should have written that on there. It would be for the March 5th agenda.
March 5th agenda.
No.
Is it at 7 o'clock or 6
Yes,
o'clock? Okay,
7
7
o'clock.
o'clock, 7 PM. Do you have any more discussion?
Kim, have we reviewed those ourselves yet?
Yeah, we initiated this one.
Okay,
So we initiated it back in November of
All right.
2023.
Okay.
And then it went to zoning commission, and then it went to I'm sorry, went to regional
Regional,
planning and then
okay.
zoning
So
commission, and
just
now it's back to
prior-
us.
Just prior to implementing, then we have the public hearing to hear
Yes.
what everybody has to say.
Yes, and
about
then if we approve it, then it goes into effect 30 days later.
it. Okay.
Okay, roll call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
What's the date?
March
March
5th,
5th.
7 PM.
I move to advertise for road resurfacing bid 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Do we need a discussion?
Um,
Roll
no.
call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
I move to allow Kelly, or I motion to allow Kelly Flick to participate in the tuition reimbursement program beginning with fall semester in 2024 at Wright State University per Article Section 4, Section M.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, is this going to supplement her on-the-job training here? Or is it something else that she wants to pursue?
No, she wants to pursue a master's degree in public administration.
Okay.
So, and Wright,
Okay,
Right,
that
correct.
fits.
yeah.
Okay.
So Wright State has a scholarship program that she's going to apply for, which hopefully half her tuition will be paid for. They're doing it for existing government employees,
Okay.
trying to get more people to go into public administration because there is a shortage of people in public administration.
Very good.
Okay.
I think it's terrific.
Yeah, me too. Roll call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move to accept donation from Choice One Engineering for $500, partner, and Silver Spring House $2,500 bronze for the Bicentennial Blast and Energy Alliance, and AEP for $7,800 for yoga.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms.
Thank you.
Lees?
Nice.
Yes, thank you. Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move to schedule a special meeting to discuss recreational marijuana.
You're going to schedule it now?
Yep. Do you have the date?
What's driving it?
We had somebody come do a presentation to me and Kim.
Okay.
So now we have 3 people that are interested.
Okay.
3 companies?
3.
Oh,
Okay.
man. We
Yeah.
better move quick because
Yeah.
we don't want him to jump in.
We just got another one yesterday.
Any recommendations, Jeff? I mean, we don't know what the state's doing yet.
No,
Is this just a formative thing to say if we're interested or not, yes or no? And
No, you guys have to decide how you want to do it, how
Yeah,
you want to
so-
allow it, or if you don't want to allow it.
Right. And right now,
And if we want to limit it, which I think
Yeah.
is probably the important role.
Yeah,
is
what-
limiting how many.
what the
the
current
conditions.
law allows is you're allowed to prohibit it, and you're allowed to limit the number, and then you always have ability through your zoning
And we
to,
can limit the
you-
location.
yeah, you
Through
can
zoning.
Right.
restrict the
Yeah.
location.
So you can create districts that are similar to the adult entertainment district in the zoning resolution.
yeah.
And when we were at OTA last week, I know Kelly and Joe went to the marijuana one, and they said that the state is saying that we will get, if we allow them to locate in our township, we will get 36 cents of every dollar
How much?
that is made, 36 cents. So we will get 36% of the money that is made.
Or is collected
Well, of the
by
tax.
state?
Yeah, taxed.
Yeah,
Of-
so,
Of the
Yeah.
money that's collected by the
yeah, so
Okay, that's-
under the current law, there will be a 10% tax on the sale imposed by the state. The state will get that money, and then, 36.
Of that tax.
Of that
Okay.
tax, 36% of that would come back to the local.
That's
Okay.
as of now, but there was some.
Yeah, I mean,
talk
there-
of increasing it to
there have been.
15% or something.
Yeah, there have been. So,
Okay.
and that could always change. I mean, that's always up to the state to change that. I think the more immediate question for the board is permit it, don't permit it, limit it,
Yeah.
zone it. So,
All right, so we ought to have 3 or 4 categories to discuss. Yes or no, how many, where, at least those topics should
Right.
be
Yeah.
discussed in this meeting.
Right.
Okay, all right, I understand better.
Okay, when do you want to set it?
So we have BZA on the 4th, regular meeting on the 5th, there's a zoning commission on the 20th. Bicentennial is on the 13th and the 27th, so we could do Tuesdays or Thursdays.
Thursday would be better for me.
I can do Thursdays too.
Phil, what about you? What's your schedule like?
I mean,
Oh, and how about you?
Me? Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
7th, 14th,
Yeah,
You're probably
28th,
important one
you
on
already
this
got-
one.
I mean-
You already got one on the 28th. You already have one on the 28th? The bicentennial?
On the 27th, the
Oh.
13th and the 27th.
Okay, gotcha, all right.
But zoning commission's in here on the 20th.
Well, we could meet in another building too.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
true.
needed to.
You're right, we
You do
could.
the 21st? Well,
That's a Wednesday.
20, not on my calendar.
Are you talking about March?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, 21st is my birthday. No, we can't do it on my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Sorry.
All
I was
right.
just getting ready to point that out.
I know.
So you're
Gee,
looking
it
at-
doesn't show up on my calendar.
Dang it.
You
It's on
must not
mine.
have invited me.
And then Phil, you said you have standing appointment on Thursdays?
Not everyone, but
Okay.
a couple a month.
All right.
So which date?
March 14th is a Thursday. How about that one?
I get
I'm
back
gonna
on
be
the
out of town.
13th. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, okay, so go to the next week. What about Monday, the 18th?
The 18th is fine with me.
Yeah,
You can't?
Mondays, I mean,
Mondays are bad?
I'm assuming that you would like me to be there, but I typically have a council meeting in other communities every Monday night.
Okay,
How about the 19th? It's a Tuesday night.
okay,
I'm open.
okay.
Yeah, 19th.
Yep.
Ken, are you good?
Yep, I'll do 19.
March
That's the
19th?
primary election day.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
At what time?
Okay.
That's fine.
You want to do, can you do 6 o'clock?
Sure.
Okay. I move to schedule a special meeting to discuss recreational marijuana March 19th at 6 PM.
In this location.
Yeah,
Okay. Second.
roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2024-16, resolution approving the employment agreement with Ken Lipinski, as Township Administrator pursuant to ORC Section 505-031, dispensing with the second reading. I was thinking I should
I'm
table
going to
this.
second that, and then I'm going to move to table it.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Ken. So I moved to table. Do I have to reread it?
You can just move to table Resolution 2024-16.
Okay. I moved to table Resolution -2024-16.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2024-17, resolution authorizing acceptance of grass mowing bids and awarding contracts to Timble Lawn and Landscaping in the amount of $68,250.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah.
Have
Are
we
we
used
going
them
to talk,
before?
are we going to, what is Tyndall going to do? What areas are they going to mow, and how does that fit into our overall plan?
So it's going to be, let me grab 17. So in the resolution, I listed them as mowing Hopewell Meadows, Belong, Stonebridge, Seven Gables, Royal, Mead, and then Symmes Park, and then Home of the Brave Park. And then the township will mow all the remainder. So that's the admin, the safety services building, Remington,
And are we going to have somebody else do the cemeteries?
Heartland Meadows. Oh, River Oaks is already, we already have a 2-year contract with River Oaks to do the
Okay.
cemeteries and the Cannon.
Okay.
So we would do like the Remington, the Safety Service Center, the admin building, Heartland Meadows, and like all the township right-of-ways.
So here's my question. So this is a total of $68,000. We're not going over this, we're not paying per cut like we did. This is,
Yeah, I put it in the resolution to do 26 cuts.
That's, yeah.
and that's what, once a week, every other week?
It's once a week until you get towards the end of the year, like, and then you can space it out, you know, once every 2 weeks when it gets a little bit drier.
Have we used this company before?
Tyndall's, yeah, they did our contract 2 years ago. Yeah. So I did, Ken had a question about all the maintenance, so if you look at the big sheets,
Yep.
I copied all of our maintenance. I tried to be as detailed as I could, like when I do the bills. I put it in the spreadsheet, like if it's a mower, or if it's a trimmer, or if it's a gator, or what it's for. So it's easier for me to track that way. But if you look on the first big page that I gave you, in 2021, we spent $130,000 with various contractors mowing. We spent $1,441.97 on maintenance, and then we spent $5,200 in fuel.
Does that include labor, our labor?
Well, no, labor would only be for what we spend in maintenance.
Okay,
So Willie's time or whoever
Okay.
it was repairing the item. Normally it's Willie, but.
got it.
And so then fuel would be for just various equipment that was associated to the Parks Department.
Okay,
It could be mowers, it could be trimmers, it could be trucks, equipment.
got it.
In 2022, we spent $130,000 because we had a 2-year contract. And then maintenance, we only spent around $500 for mowers and trimmers, and the fuel was $9,441.53. So then,
Not that we used more, but the cost was double.
yes, the cost of fuel did go up.
Okay,
So in 2023, the cost, we spent $7,097.49 in maintenance. We spent almost $13,000 in fuel. We spent $23 in capital because we happened to have to buy 2 mowers because we had one blow up and then we needed another one to replace another one.
okay.
And then we spent $54,990 with River Oaks, who did the cemetery mowing and the cannon. So in total, we spent $98,355.88.
So bottom line is we saved
35.
20,000 anyway.
Yeah, but the capital is that 23,000, we have that piece of
Right,
equipment.
right.
So technically you take that out.
We saved more than that, right.
Yeah.
So in
Okay.
2024, proposing what we're proposing now, if you take the 68,250 for Tyndall's, the 54,990 for River Oaks, we'd be spending 123,240. Plus, we're still gonna have maintenance, plus we're still gonna have fuel.
So really in 2023, we only spent 75,000 because of the capital.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you wore out a mower.
And then before, when I first got here, we were buying a mower every year when we were mowing. And then I think somewhere around 2018, we hired the contractors to mow.
Okay.
So, but I had, I had Willie make a copy of all his maintenance, if you want to see that. And then I have some printouts of like all our costs, all the different maintenance costs we have. It's kind of hard to tell in the UAN system because it's not detailed, so you really don't know what it was for. But that's why I made copies of my big sheets that I put into an Excel spreadsheet when I track everything. So, and Bill has been patiently waiting if you have any questions.
Yes, you have.
But those numbers don't show in our labor.
Right.
And
Right.
what numbers? In the 2024 numbers?
It's 2023.
True, I did not put our labor in there.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This shows.
Well, you included our labor and maintenance costs for 2021 and 2022. They're not in the maintenance costs for 2020?
Yeah, it's labor we're already paying anyway, but, yeah.
Well,
It's just not listed as an
best use
item.
of your manpower. If I read these charts, we saved money in 2023 by doing stuff in-house rather than contracting it out.
Yes.
Now we turn right around, and the only thing on the 2024 estimates here is almost the same amount that we were spending in 2021 and 2022 when we were using a lot of contracted services. We're back in that mode again. Is that right?
But what it's about is, how do you want the service department to spend their time? Do you want them to spend more of their time maintaining the parks and not having to mow, like maybe doing more,
Okay.
I'm trying to
Projects
think of-
that I have?
if you could help me out with a list.
Perfect example is our 2024 road bid. If we don't do the mowing contract, I'm going to have to change my bigs. I'm going to have to add a lot more to our bids, we're gonna be doing it in-house. Catch basins, curbs, that type of stuff. Right now, it's out of our bid because we're gonna do it in-house.
So it's contractor versus in-house somewhere else.
Correct. Where it's cheaper to, you're gonna save more money doing concrete and curbs and catch basins.
Okay, that wasn't a player in what we've considered in the past.
I'm okay with
That's
this,
fair.
Right.
but I want to make a point. Every year I throw this out there. Why can't we just hire a college kid to cut grass?
And we will, we'll have, Jim is coming back in March, so we will have Jim to mow, but he can, between him and Ray, they can split it up, and like Ray can mow the township, or they could put Jim on the right-of-way mowing. And then it would free up. But I'm sure you already have like a set
Yeah,
schedule that you do.
I'm sure, yeah, and,
Okay.
you know, I don't know, I don't know.
I think what Bill's telling me is I'm gonna save more money by doing stuff in-house on concrete work and so on than I am by getting somebody contracting to do our mowing. So it's save here more than I would have saved doing what we were doing, which was bringing mowing contracts back in-house. Okay. We still have to do, and still have to pay engineering on all of these concrete culverts and everything else, right?
Not what we're doing in-house, no.
Okay, is that another savings? If we go to an outside contractor to do
Grass cutting, you get-
culvert repair or drains and so on and so, we have to have the engineering in addition to the actual,
Some of it, yes.
okay.
No.
But we can do that in-house?
Yes. Like for our road resurfacing, catch basin repair,
Yeah,
curb
okay.
repairs, we can do that in-house. We don't have to have any,
Okay,
because we're just repairing the existing.
that's interesting, all right. Thank you, Kim. I asked for it, you delivered it, so thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
These are competitive bids? Okay. Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2024-18, resolution authorizing the township administrator to sign an amend agreement with Choice One Engineering for engineering services for Fields Erdel Road Sidewalk Project, an additional amount of $12,200 for a total amount of $119,700.
Second.
Discussion?
What's that for, Kim?
This is for the Fields Erdel Road Sidewalk Project, from the one that goes on
Right.
Mason Montgomery from Chapel Square to Fields Erdel, and then on Fields Erdel from Mason Montgomery to Montgomery Road. So when we first did the estimate from Choice One, we did not know how many easements we were going to have to get at the time when we did it. Now that we do know that, we're obviously going to have legal descriptions for each one of those easements that we're going to need, because we're going to need some permanent and some temporary easements.
Okay.
So we have to have Choice One do those legal descriptions.
Okay, how does the McCluskey property fit into this? Are they doing part of this?
They will, yeah, so when we do the sidewalks, that's another topic we'll have to talk about, because we're going to have to make a decision. Do we go ahead and include them into the equation, and then they just pay for their portion of the project to the contractor we hire? Or do we skip their property and not do it, and they have to install it at the time whenever they choose to do their building, which obviously hasn't been done for a couple years. So I don't know, we'll have to have that separate discussion.
They're
Okay,
moving more
but
trucks that
right
way.
now, when you described the project, you said all the way from,
Yeah, right now it
all the
includes
way
it
to
all.
Montgomery Road.
Right, it includes it all.
Okay. So if we commit to this contract with Choice One, that basically says we're gonna do it.
Yes, the temporary easements, we're just talking temporary easements and construction, like temporary and permanent
Well,
easements.
Would the number of temporary easements go up or down depending on McCluskey?
I don't remember do you remember if we have any in there? I don't think there's anything on theirs.
Didn't they want an additional entrance off of Fields Erdel? that would affect, didn't they want additional?
Yeah, but they also
did
have
it
to
originally.
dedicate extra right-of-way too in that particular area when they redid their plan.
Okay. Okay, so we're already on the hook for 107.5,
Yes.
okay, with choice one for engineering services there, we're talking an additional 12 too.
Right. Yes. But we have to do it because we have to have the legal descriptions to go along with the deeds.
Okay, all right.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2024-19, resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to enter into an agreement with River Oak Service LLC for insect control and lawn maintenance of multiple locations in the amount of $31,380.
Second. Ken's got it.
Discussion.
Yeah. This fits into the category where you said that we were going to explore not doing everything every year, but do some on an every other year basis.
So this
like-
is,
Go ahead.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
This is one of those years. Last
Okay.
year, we didn't do as many. Now we're back to the full amount.
Okay. Okay.
So next year we'll be back to half, or we'll be back at
Well,
full
it's,
amount?
it's not half, but it's a little bit less.
Okay. I just wanted to know that that was factoring in.
And can I ask a question? I know that we get certified and all this stuff. Why aren't we doing this in-house?
I think it
Yeah,
has to
that-
do with the equipment, right? Like, we don't have the equipment.
Some of these items were not certified.
Yeah, but I thought we were going to try and work with some of these companies that we could use their certification, but yet do it. Is that possible?
We haven't had much luck with that. 'Cause
Well, I can understand why people wouldn't want you to use their certification, unless you're trained.
Right.
And if you're trained, you might as well be certified, so,
So I thought we were trained and certified.
well,
But you have to be certified in multiple categories. We don't, because most of this is liquid, we're not certified in any liquid.
Okay. And so can we get certified in that liquid so we can do it
We could,
in-house?
but then you can buy the equipment, you're gonna spend more than $31,000.
Oh, what equipment is there?
sprayers
The applicating equipment, yeah, it gets expensive.
Okay,
and garb you have to wear.
okay. Roll call.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Ms. Lees?
Aye. I move approval of Resolution G 2024-20, resoluting the Township Administrator to enter into agreement with Stiles and Son to clean out and regrade the detention basin for 7 Gable Park in the amount of $25,644.
Second.
Discussion?
Can you explain it to us, Bill? I mean, we have the retention. It's not detention, is it retention or detention?
Detention.
This is
Yeah, we
ED.
just detained, but I haven't seen any water standing there in eons, right?
But it's because it's covered in cattails. It's
Right.
because of the water.
So what are we gonna do there?
Regrade it, get it to where it'll drain, so it can be mowed.
So we're not going to take out the cat house?
Yeah,
Right now, it's gonna be, right now, it's a mosquito haven, so.
okay. Wow.
It was never designed to actually hold that much water.
Okay.
It was designed to be.
All right. That's off the track. I'll talk to you.
Are we going to do it this year?
Yes.
Are we going to have it done before our,
It'll depend on the weather, because it has to be it has to be completely dried out to be able to do what needs to be done.
yeah, but is it going to be like, is
No.
it just
What-
going to be dirt?
Why can't we do that? If we're not mowing,
Why can't we do what?
clean it out and regrade it. We have the equipment, don't we?
Most of it, yeah.
I'm not trying to throw a wrench in the gear here, but there's only so many places you can use your people, but if they're not mowing, then you're gonna be doing concrete work or this. Somebody has to do the planning that makes it all happen, so. I just throw it out there for thought. Is that something we could do or would want to do?
Could do, yes, want to do that.
All right?
Because it's pretty flat, so you really have to get your grades spot on.
you take some from here and you put it there. Okay, so there's surveying and all that kind of stuff that would have to be done?
Laser grading.
Yeah. Okay, all right. For 25K, all right. Go ahead.
Okay. Anything else? Can we save the cattails at least? Like, I know we have to get rid of them, but can we cut them
No,
down?
just save 3 or 4 for
All
you.
right, that's all right. Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Approval of Resolution G 2024-21, resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to enter into agreement with Teams All Sports to regrade existing ball fields at Home of the Brave Park in the amount of $20,759.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah.
So,
As usual.
Yep.
We were gonna work all winter on the grading of the outfield warning track or something in the big field. Did that ever happen? Did we solve that problem?
I don't think it's completely solved, because there's no way of completely solving it, because
Okay,
the
then,
fields are,
and what is this? Is it that ball field or others?
the 2 north practice fields.
3 and 5.
Okay, these are closer to, well, they're on the other side of the Masonic Lodge or whatever. Okay, got it.
Those have had nothing done to them.
Yeah, I agree. I understand. Thank you.
Roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Staying away from me on that second vote. Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2023-22, resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to enter an agreement with All Team Sports to treat Stonebridge Park and ball fields at Home of the Brave in the amount of $16,335.69.
Second.
Discussion?
What are we doing?
This is all fertilization and weed control,
Okay.
athletic fields.
And this is on the every other year basis or what?
This one is they change it every year, so it's not the same price
Okay,
because of the athletic fields.
okay. Yeah. Is there anything we can do over there to keep people from throwing stuff in the toilets? Or are we gonna?
That's Stonebridge?
Are we gonna keep them closed this spring?
You're talking Stonebridge.
That's Stonebridge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there, I don't think
Isn't that
that's ever going to
Stonebridge
stop.
we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, but
sorry. Okay.
as soon as soccer opens, we'll open it back up. As soon as soccer's over, we'll probably close it back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to really just remove the play structure or at least remove the mulch, because that's what they're doing. They're taking the mulch and they're shoving it in the toilets, and then the last time they shoved a birthday cake down into the toilets and in the sinks. So it caused us to spend a very large amount of money to have, what is it, hydro,
Yeah.
yeah, cleaned or something. It costs like $1,200.
Yeah,
Couple times, right, this year?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yep. I wish we could catch them. Yeah. Okay, a roll call?
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Ms. Lees?
Aye. So we skipped over that one, we moved that to the front. Approval of the following expenditures and authorizing the Township Administrator to sign any necessary contracts, agreements, or paperwork. A, amend the following. Account Fund Number 2272-760-7200000, Fund AARP Fund, add $12,285. Final appropriation would be $523,950.86. Account Fund 2904-730-592-0000, Opioid Fund, add $6,538. Final appropriation would be $638. Account Fund 2041410-360-00000 Cemetery Fund would be add $2,275. The final appropriation would be $77,275. B, expenditures then and now for $5,220. Web cemeteries for software licensing and support. C, expenditure then and now $5,068.98 for the body shop at King's Auto Mall for repairs for the 2023 Explorer. D, expenditure then and now, $1,896.48 for towing equipment for repair to the Gator.
Second.
Discussion? Did we need to do body work on your Explorer already?
Yeah, somebody hit me.
Oh, somebody hit you? Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, last year.
Hit and run?
No, the person was ticketed. It was on
Okay,
Mason
so-
Montgomery Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just, we had the repairs done and the insurance company sent the check to us and not to the repair shop. I did not realize that the check came to the township or forgot. And the body shop called us last week and said, hey, where's our check? And so, now we need to, since it was last year's and we didn't budget for it and it's over $5,000, I had to have you guys approve it.
Okay.
But we got the money from the insurance company.
Yes,
It's a
it just
matter of
needed, it just needs to go to the body shop.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, roll call, I forgot, sorry.
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
I move into executive session, ORC Section 121.22G1, to consider the compensation and employment of a public employee or official.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Okay.
We're going to go up to Kim's office?
Yeah. Once everybody leaves.
Where's Kim's thing? Okay. I move to approve Resolution G 2024-16, resolution approving the employment agreement with Kim LaPensi as Symmes Township Administrator pursuant to OR Section 505.031, dispensing with a second reading. There is only one change to the agreement, and that is the salary, which will be increased 3.5 and is the same as the other employees of the township.
Second.
Discussion? Kim, you do a really nice job for us. Thank you.
Which one was that? 2020?
16,
Discuss it. Thanks.
2024-16.
Yeah, got it here. 18, 17, 16.
Do we have any discussion?
No, I wanted to see that the date was changed. The draft I'd seen was on the 6th. Okay.
Roll call.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Oh, Ms. Lees? Aye. Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call. Ms. Lees? Aye. Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye. I have the resolution, Kim.